Alright mates, how's it going? In today's video, chapter 10 of Rise of the Horde by Christy Golden. Get ready for a lot of dialogue. Let's get! Durotan sighed and passed the letter to Draka, and as she read it, eyes darting frantically over the words, she looked ever so slightly pissed off. Ner'zhul's a coward to lay this at your feet. The request came to him, not to you. I have promised to obey. Ner'zhul speaks for the ancestors. Yeah, well, I don't know if I trust Ner'zhul. Durotan nodded, but we both trust Drekthar, and he confirmed what Ner'zhul said. The Draenei are plotting against us, and now it looks as if Velen is insisting on entering Oshagun. Durotan once again regarded the letter. I'm just glad Ner'zhul hasn't asked me to slay Velen. Perhaps once we have him in our power we can convince him to change his ways. Maybe even negotiate peace. Durotan's heart yearned for peace. As great as his life was with Draka, as proud as he was of his clan, he knew he'd be much happier simply doing as his father had done. Hunting beasts, dancing in the moonlight, discussing soups. He hadn't told Draka this, but he was secretly glad that they had not yet conceived a child. It was not exactly a fantastic time to bring one into the world. The young orcs these days were having their childhood stolen from them, and as chieftain, Durotan would not hesitate to have his son or daughter trained like the rest. Wouldn't be fair to the other parents otherwise. And whilst Durotan thought of these things, Draka watched him with intense narrow eyes, as if she could read his thoughts. I will tell the courier that his master may rest content. I will not shirk my duty. Meanwhile, Velen was meditating again, holding the violet fragment of the Atamal crystal close to his heart. He also had the red and yellow ones. The other fragments were placed elsewhere in Draenei territory. But of the 7 fragments, the violet one was his favourite. Its power opened his mind and spirit, always made him feel stronger when he meditated with it. But even so, he could no longer hear Kurei's voice. My prophet, the courier you sent to the shaman Ner'zhul was killed. I sensed his death, but I had hoped it was an accident. You are certain he was murdered? Ner'zhul admitted it, and offers no apology. So much for your theory that they would not attack an unarmed man. I had hoped for better. Ner'zhul says that an orc contingency will meet with us at the base of the mountain. So he's not coming? Nope. Who does he send in his stead? The letter doesn't say. Give it to me. The Wrestleon did. Velen uncurled the parchment and began to read it. Your courier is dead. It is fortunate that those who slew him thought to search the body for his missive. I have read it, and I agree to send a contingency of orcs to speak with you. I guarantee nothing. Not your safety, not a truce. Nothing. We will hear you out, but that's it. You prick. Well, that wasn't the response Velen was hoping for. What the bloody hell had happened to the orcs? It was inappropriately sunny and nice the day the meeting finally came. Durotan felt like it should be grey and cloudy, or raining, but the sun didn't give a shit about his feelings. Durotan had picked a pretty strategic position for himself and his warriors. They would see Velen's travelling party approach long before they were spotted themselves, and they would leave the Draenei no avenue to flee, should that be a thing that they tried to do. My chieftain, you are doing what you've been told to do. These beings are our enemies. Durotan nodded and wished he could believe that as easily as every other orc seemed to. And then, they're coming. 5 of them, unarmed. And so, Durotan straightened and gripped his battle axe tightly. Not only were the Draenei not dressed in armour, they were so garishly clad that only a blind orc would have failed to spot them. They wanted to be seen. They wanted the orcs to be confident that they carried no weapons. But was it a trick? After all, a shaman didn't need a spear to be deadly. The Draenei continued to approach at a completely confident, serene pace, as if they just did not give a shit. But after several long minutes, the leader of the Draenei and the chieftain of the Frostwolves found themselves standing face to face. Been a long time, Velen. Long indeed, Durotan. Are you still friends with Orgrim? I am indeed. He carries the Doomhammer now, and is second in his own clan. A deep and unquestionably genuine sorrow flitted across the old Draenei's face. I hope his father and yours passed with great honour. We are not here today to speak of the past. We are here because you have informed us that you dare trespass on our most sacred place. Velen held Durotan's gaze and nodded. I had sent a missive to Ner'zhul, Durotan, not to you. He has declined to meet with me. I wonder, did he share this missive with you? There was no need for me to read it. I was asked to come in his stead and I have done so. I see. Then he did not tell you why I wished to come today. I do not need to know your purpose, Draenei. But you do, or else this conversation will be for nothing. Velen's voice was clear and crisp. There was nothing old or frail about it. For the first time, Durotan could see the sheer strength of Velen's will. This mountain is sacred to your people. We know this, and we have respected it. But it is also sacred to us. Deep inside the mountain is a being that has long cared for the Draenei people. It is older by far than anything either of our minds can grasp, and more powerful. But even old and powerful things can die, and it is dying now. There is wisdom and guidance and reconciliation we can have from it. Your people and mine. We... Blasphemer! Durotan was quite shocked to see that outburst had come from Drekthar, and he looked absolutely furious. Oshagoon belongs to us. It is the home of the beloved dead, and your hideous cloven feet are not fit to take one step up its blessed sides. Velen also seemed taken aback by the outburst, but he stretched out a hand imploringly. Your spirits are housed within these walls, it is true, and I would never dare say otherwise. But they are drawn there because of this being. It seeks to... Drekthar then bellowed in outrage. That was pretty much the opposite of the right thing to say from Velen, and he'd gone ahead and made things worse. So much so that the orcs behind Durotan started to surge forward. However, Durotan then struck Drekthar right in the face. Everyone chill the f*** out. We take them alive. I will slay anyone who harms them. And then there was silence. Velen, you and your people are now prisoners of the Frostwolf clan. I expected nothing less. All 5 of the Draenei somehow maintained their composure as they were stripped and searched. Durotan's stomach turned at the insults, jeers and spits that came their way, but he did not stop it. My mate, can you not silence them? I want to see how the Draenei react. Draka looked at him but then nodded and withdrew. He knew she wasn't happy about this. He didn't like what he was seeing either. But he was walking a delicate line and he knew it. My chieftain, come and see what they've brought us. Durotan walked over to Rokar, his second, and peered into a sack that had been confiscated from the Draenei. And inside were 2 exquisitely beautiful stones, one red and one yellow. Durotan really wanted to touch them, but stopped himself and instead looked over to Velen. What are these? Crystals. They are part of our legacy, bequeathed to us by the being that dwells in the mountain. You would do well not to mention that again. Bind their hands, put them on wolves with the shaman to guard them. Give these crystals to Drekthar. We will take the Draenei back with us. The ride back was a long one. Durotan spent most of it wrestling with his emotions. Eventually, they arrived back in the land of the Frostwolves. The prisoners were ungraciously shoved into 2 tents, one for Velen and one for the rest, because Durotan intended to speak with Velen alone as soon as the excitement settled down somewhat. And soon enough, it did, so he entered the tent. He'd ordered for Velen's hands to be tied, but whoever had carried out that order had obviously decided to take it a bit further, because Velen was strapped up like a gimp. So Durotan cursed under his breath, pulled a dagger and cut Velen free. I told them to bind you, not truss you up like a talbuk. Your people are very eager, it would seem. Durotan then handed the old Draenei some water and watched him gulp it down, and gave him a bit of porridge as well, which Velen did not touch. Not quite the feast you served Orgrim and I, but it is nourishing. Did you get what you wanted from us that night? I don't understand. We merely wish to be good hosts to 2 adventuresome boys. You expect me to believe that? It is the truth. It's your choice as to whether to believe it. Why are you trying to destroy us? What have we ever done to you? I might ask you the same question. We never lifted a finger to harm you, and now over 24 Draenei are dead from your attacks. The ancestors do not lie to us. We have been warned that you are not what you seem, that you are our enemies. Those crystals, what are they? Some kind of weapon? We thought they might help us better communicate with the being in the mountain. We are not an enemy to the orcs. Durotan, you are wise and intelligent. You're not one to blindly follow. I don't know why your leaders are lying to you, but they are. You're better than this. You're not like the others. You're wrong, Draenei. I am proud to be an orc. I embrace my heritage. You misunderstand. I do not malign your people. I'm merely what? Merely telling us the only reason we see the beloved dead is because of your god, trapped in the mountain? It is not a god. It is an ally. It would be one to your people as well if you permit it to be. Durotan paced, hands clenching and unclenching. He was bloody furious, but he knew anger wasn't going to help the situation, so he took some deep breaths. Velen, your claim is arrogant and offensive. You're asking me to choose between the people I trust the traditions I've been raised on, and your word. Know this, Velen. I choose my people. If you and I come face to face on the field of battle, I will not stay my hand. But if Ner'zhul wants you, he should have come for you himself. You will not take me to him then. You were supposed to deliver a prisoner to Ner'zhul. I was to meet with you and listen to your words. Had I captured you in battle, stricken a weapon from your hands and wrestled you to the ground, then yes, you would be a prisoner. But there is no honour in binding a foe who extends his hands willingly for the rope. We're at an impasse, you and I. You insist you have no ill will towards the orcs. My leaders and the ancestors say otherwise.
Durotan then knelt before the Draenei.
They call you prophet. Do you know the future then? If so, tell me what you and I can do to avert what I fear will unfold. Give me something, anything, to take to Ner'zhul to prove what you say is true.
Durotan realised he was kind of begging, but he didn't care. He loved his wife, his clan, his people. If begging could stop an all-out war, then beg he would.
The future is not like a book one can read. It is ever-changing. I am granted certain insights, but nothing more. If anything can be done to avert this, it lies with the orcs, not with the Draenei. All I can do is tell you what I have already said. The river's course can be changed, but you are the ones who must change it.
Durotan closed his eyes for a moment, and then stood up.
So be it. We will keep the crystals. Whatever power they have, our shaman will learn to harness it. Get up. You and your companions may leave safely, or as safely as you might, in the darkness with no weapons. If you come to your deaths this night when you are past our territory, it will not be on my head.
Durotan then marched out of the tent, and told the guards that Velen and his 4 companions were to be safely escorted to the border. But Drekthar then appeared, out of nowhere.
Durotan, what are you doing? Ner'zhul expects prisoners. Ner'zhul can take his prisoners himself. I am in command and this is my decision. Do you question it? I do. You heard what he said. He claims the ancestors are like moths to a torch around this god of his. The arrogance.
Enough, Drekthar.
Enough.
Velen and the others made their way through Tarakar Forest, and the Draenei leader's heart was heavy. That hadn't exactly gone brilliantly. The orcs were now in possession of 2 of the Atamal crystals, and Velen had no doubt their shaman would indeed unlock their secrets soon enough. At least they hadn't found his favourite violet one, but the outlook was grim. One look at the Frostwolf camp had revealed that the orcs were preparing for war. Hell, not just preparing for it, convinced of the certainty of it. Velen then turned to his companions and looked at them sorrowfully.
The orcs will not be dissuaded from this path. Therefore, if we are to survive, we too must walk the path of war.
And far in the distance, broken, dying, deep within the sacred mountain, Kure uttered a deep, agonised cry, and Velen bowed his head.
The ancestors are angry with us for letting Velen go.
Durotan shook his head, but there was no denying that the mountain just cried. 'Twas not a cry of anger, it was the wrenching sound of ultimate grief, and the Frostwolf chieftain could only shudder as he wondered why the ancestors mourned so very deeply. And we're leaving it there! Supposed to say outro stuff, aren't I? I've been levelling a hunter on WoW recently. Literally got all the way to level 50 before realising there was a talent where you could have 2 pets instead of 1, because I'm an idiot. I find it weirdly therapeutic to use Azeroth autopilot and just mindlessly follow an arrow to level an alt though. Don't know why. Link in the description if you're interested in buying this book, as well as for my Discord and my Patreon too. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, all of that bollocks. And all that's left to say is, thanks for watching, and see ya!